All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
There is one mind common to all individual men. They are merely two spheres of activity within one mind. There are not two minds. Your conscious mind is the reasoning mind. It is that phase of mind which chooses, weighs, dissects, analyzes, investigates, scrutinizes, comes to conclusions and decisions. For example, you choose your books, your home, your partner in life. You make all your decisions with your conscious mind. On the other hand, without any conscious choice on your part, your heart is kept functioning automatically, and the process of digestion, circulation, and breathing are carried on by your subconscious mind through processes independent of your conscious control. Your subconscious mind accepts what is impressed upon it, or what you consciously believe. It does not reason out things like your conscious mind. It's a one-track mind. It does not argue with you controversially. Your subconscious mind is like the soil, which accepts any kind of idea, good or bad. Your thoughts are active and might be likened unto seeds. Negative, destructive thoughts continue to work negatively in your subconscious mind, and in due time will come forth into outer experience which corresponds with them. Remember, your subconscious mind does not engage in proving whether your thoughts are good or bad, true or false, but it responds according to the nature of your thoughts or suggestions. For example, if you consciously assume something to be true, even though it may be false, your subconscious mind will accept it as true and proceed to bring about results which must necessarily follow because you consciously assumed it to be true. Your subconscious mind cannot argue controversially. Hence, if you give it wrong suggestions, it will accept them as true and will proceed to bring them to pass as conditions, experience, and events. Your subconscious mind is oftentimes referred to as your subjective mind. Your subjective mind takes cognizance of its environment by means independent of the five senses. Your subjective mind perceives by intuition. It is the seat of your emotion and the storehouse of memory. Your subjective mind performs its highest functions when your objective senses are in abeyance. In a word, it is that intelligence which makes itself manifest when the objective mind is suspended or in a sleepy, drowsy state. Your subjective mind sees without the use of the natural organs of vision. It has the capacity of clairvoyance and clairaudience. Your subjective mind can leave your body, travel to distant lands, and bring back information oftentimes of the most exact and truthful character. Through your subjective mind, you can read the thoughts of others, read the contents of sealed envelopes and closed safes. Your subjective mind has the ability to apprehend the thoughts of others without the use of the ordinary objective means of communication. It is of the greatest importance that we understand the interaction of your objective and subjective mind in order to learn the true art of prayer. When your conscious and subconscious mind function harmoniously and peacefully, when they work together in unison and in harmony, the result of that is harmony, health, and peace, and joy, and happiness. All the evil, the pain, the suffering, the misery, and the war, and the crime, and the sickness in the world are due to the inharmonious relationship of your conscious and subconscious mind. Remember, we said your subconscious is impersonal, non-selective. In the Bible, it says the husband is head of the wife. The husband in the Bible is your conscious mind, and the wife is called the subconscious in the Bible. That's not true from a literal standpoint, but it's true psychologically only. Your subconscious is controlled by your conscious mind. It's amenable to suggestion and controlled by it. So the wife, your subconscious, is subject to the man or to the mind, and all conscious mind in all things. That's true psychologically only. Whatever your conscious mind, remember, feels to be true, your subconscious accepts. Your capacity to imagine and feel, and your freedom to choose the idea you will entertain, gives you power over all creation. Do not dwell on the imperfections and shortcomings of others, or their frailties, or their derelictions. Why? Because whatever you think and feel about another, you create in your own mind, body, and circumstances. Ask yourself, would I like to live with what I'm thinking and wishing for the other? If you would, well, if the answer is in the affirmative, of course you're on the right track. Remember, your thought is creative, and what you think about the other, you are creating, in your pocketbook too, and in all phases of your life. What you do not wish done unto you, do not feel it is done unto you or another. Now, chance or accident is not responsible for the things that happen to you, nor is predestined fate the author of our fortune or misfortune. Your subconscious mind is not concerned with the truth or falsity of what you consciously feel or believe to be true. Select only that which is true, lovely, noble, and godlike, and your subconscious will reproduce accordingly. The Bible says, believe you have it now, and you shall receive it. All things whatsoever you shall ask in prayer, believe that you have it now, and you shall receive it. That's a psychological law. Assume the mood that would be yours had you realized your desire. And as you do this, wonders will begin to happen in your life. You know, Edison discovered, or he knew intuitively, that the voice caused undulatory currents in the atmosphere. And he reasoned it out. He said such currents could reproduce the voice. The idea came to him that inasmuch as your voice produced waves, that these waves would reproduce that voice. That's believing you have it now and you shall receive it. So he developed a phonograph. The idea came from his subconscious mind. Your subconscious is your friend, seeks to heal you, to restore you. If someone is presenting you with a phony deal, there's something within you that warns you. That's your subconscious mind prompting you. Its intimations, urges, promptings, murmurings are always life word. It seeks to heal you if you cut yourself, if you burn yourself. It seeks to reduce the edema, gives you new skin and tissue. If your child is very sick and you're completely exhausted, and you think about waking up to give the medicine to your child at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, it'll wake you up, no matter how tired you are, exactly at 2 o'clock to minister to your child. Its tendency is always life word. Electricity, Edison knew, was produced by friction. Reverse it. Friction, in turn, produces electricity. Edison knew the transformation of forces. He knew that transformation of force, that the force is reversible. Heat produces mechanical motion. Mechanical motion produces heat. Cause and effect, action and reaction. These are cosmic and universal. Pray believing that you already possess what you pray for. Yes, and it will come to pass. This is the law of inverse transformation. For example, if the sale of your home brought a certain amount of joy, satisfaction, elation into your mental atmosphere, then the feeling that would be yours if you realized it would also produce that. In other words, that feeling or that mental state captured in your imagination and feeling must produce the sale of the home. Because if the sale of the home, actual sale of it, brought a certain joy and satisfaction to you, then reverse it. Capture the feeling, the mood that would be yours if you sold it, by imagining the check in your hand, giving thanks for it, depositing it in the bank, doing the things you would do were your home sold, all in your mind or your imagination, and then that attitude of mind will produce it. Awaken within yourself the feeling that would be yours if you now realized your desire, and that feeling will produce it. A young boy, a D-Malay boy, who wanted to go to a certain college, had difficulty, and was rejected. And I said to him, you understand this law of inverse transformation? How would you feel if they accepted you now? You went in to see this man who rejected you and said, well, we've changed our mind. We've looked over your qualifications and you are accepted. He said, I'd feel happy. I'd call up my dad. I'd feel wonderful. Well, I said, as you go to sleep at night, feel that I'm congratulating you on your acceptance and your marvelous success in the college. Imagine you're also talking to your dad and telling him you've been accepted. And you're going in there now in your own mind. And this man is saying, well, you're accepted. It's wonderful. All right, you can capture that feeling, that in your imagination, that inner mood. And he did that, and he was accepted. Yes, the feeling of the answered prayer, if assumed and sustained, must objectify the answer to your prayer. So that's the meaning. If he calleth things that be not as though they were, and the unseen become seen. If a physical fact can produce a psychological state, then that psychological state can produce a physical fact. That's the meaning of all things whatsoever you shall ask in prayer, believing. Believe that you have it now and you shall receive it. How can you believe you have it now? Well, the reality of it is an idea, isn't it? A mental picture in your mind. So you accept the mental picture, dramatize it, feel the reality of it, rejoice in it, believe in the law of growth, knowing that the seed you put on the ground will grow if you nourish it, sustain it, water it, and fertilize it. The philosophy of 6,000 years has not searched the chambers and the magazines of the soul. Emerson said that. Your mind is your consciousness is the sum total of all your subjective and objective impressions and awarenesses. Your mind is a medium of ideas. It's a collection of impressions. Some are good and perhaps some are not so bad. Your mind, therefore, is a medium for all sorts of impressions, and your mind should be open only to ideas which heal, bless, inspire, elevate, and dignify your soul. For ideas are our masters. Ideas generate emotions. The reason there is so much misery in the world is the ideas many men hold are completely false. And these emotions get snarled up in the subconscious, and they must have an outlet. And being of a negative nature, it must be a negative outlet. Watt saw the steam coming out of the kettle. He was a Scotchman, mechanic. His mother was making a cup of tea, and he saw the result of the steam forcing the lid up. He began to think, what would happen if I harnessed that steam? Tremendous power there. All he had was an idea. He began to think about it from all angles. The idea came from his subconscious mind to force steam into a cylinder, which contained a piston. The expansion forced the piston back and drove the wheels. That was the beginning of the steam engine, which revolutionized industry all over the world. When a man says it can't be done, it was never done before, it's impossible. Remember, the science of aerodynamics states that the bumblebee cannot fly because its wingspan is too short and its weight is too great for it to fly. But the bumblebee doesn't know what's in the textbook, so it goes ahead and flies. So when someone says it can't be done, the man who knows the power of his imagination, of the great friend within him, says, what does he say? It says, I'm going to do it. It can be done. And the subconscious, which is his friend, responds to him and brings it to pass in a wonderful, wonderful way. Here's a friend also for a band. Someone mailed me this clipping. It's an unknown Mexican, it says, from the Copley News Service. And he was praying for wealth. That is, he wanted money to do the things he wanted to do. Obviously, he was poor, according to the article. And in a dream, he sees the Virgin, because he had gone to Guadalupe to pray. And the Virgin said to him in a dream, purchase this ticket 37281 in a Mexican lottery. He called his nephew in Texas, and he asked him to track it down. So the nephew tracked it down, and he invested the uncle's money to buy the block of tickets. And the uncle won $3 million, a grand prize in Mexico. The Internal Revenue, the article said, visited his nephew and said, we want $1,600,000 because you were here in America and you bought this ticket. So he took it to the tax court. And the article says the judge said, well, this man received an answer to his prayer from the Virgin, and the ticket was purchased in his name, and the Internal Revenue doesn't get anything. So that's the friend that gave this Mexican, who believed that the Virgin would answer him, $3 million. That's the friend that's within you. Its ways are past finding out. The Virgin, of course, is the I am within you, your own subconscious mind. It's capable of infinite conceptions within itself. That's why Mary means the sea, Virgin means the pure mind, the infinite mind, the I am, the presence of God within you. That's called the Virgin Mary in all Bibles of the world. Mary is a Latin word meaning the sea. So it has nothing at all to do with woman or a virgin or anything of that nature. because there is that within you that's capable of an infinite number of conceptions of itself without the aid of any man. It created the whole universe. For example, the tree outside your door is an immaculate conception. So is the whole universe an immaculate conception. It came out of the mind of God. He had no one to aid him, for God is all there is. And therefore only God can make a tree. So that's the virgin that is within you. Now, even though he had blind faith and thought he was praying to a virgin, his subconscious responded. Because your subconscious responds whether the object of your faith be true or false. And that's a very interesting thing to know. So it'll answer blind belief too. The subconscious mind, in your subconscious mind, there is an intelligence and wisdom which comes to the aid in emergencies when a direct demand is made upon it. There are many, many such instances where scientists, for example, have received answers to their prayers when they couldn't get an answer any other way. Nicholas Tesla, a brilliant electrical scientist who brought forth the most amazing innovations, he said when an idea for a new invention came into his mind, he would build it up in his imagination, knowing that his subconscious mind would reconstruct and reveal to his conscious mind all the parts needed for its manufacture in concrete form. Through quietly contemplating every possible improvement, he spent no time in correcting defects, and was able to give the technicians the perfect product of his mind. He said, "Invariably, my device works as I imagined it should. In 20 years, there has not been a single exception." His subconscious mind gave him the answer to all his inventions. A famous chemist, Frederick von Stradonich, used his subconscious mind to solve his problem as follows. He had been working laboriously for a long time, trying to rearrange the 6 carbon and 6 hydrogen atoms of the benzene formula. He was constantly perplexed and unable to solve the matter. Tired and exhausted, he turned the request over completely to his subconscious mind. Shortly afterwards, he was about to board a London bus. His subconscious presented his conscious mind with a sudden flash of a snake biting its own tail and turning around like a pinwheel. This answer from his subconscious mind gave him the long-sought answer of the circular rearrangement of the atoms that is known as the benzene ring, and every high school boy knows how that came to pass. Through this, you might say, flash of illumination from the depths of the man's subconscious mind. Countless inventions came through that way. The Bible says, "I, the Lord," meaning your subconscious mind, "will make myself known unto a man in a vision, will speak to man in a dream." When I use the term subconscious mind, I'm talking about the great universal mind. I'm not looking at it from a Freudian narrow standpoint, where it deals with a mind of sex repressions and frustrations and inhibitions and things of that nature. Not at all. I am talking of the Father within which doeth the works. You can call it the supernormal mind, the superconscious mind, the subliminal mind. You can call it Allah, Brahma, reality, infinite intelligence, self-originating spirit, life principle. Call it by any name you want to. Actually, it's nameless anyhow. But it is that subjective depths of view, that subjective wisdom and intelligence that controls all your vital organs when you're sound asleep, that sometimes answers your prayer in a dream, in a vision of the night. There are numerous references in the Bible to dreams, visions, revelations, and warnings given to men during sleep. Your subconscious mind is active 24 hours a day. It's your greatest friend. The Bible points out that Joseph was accurate in his analyses of the dreams of Pharaoh. His mental acumen and sagacity in predicting the future through the interpretation of dreams brought him praise, honor, and recognition by the king. Dreams have captivated scientists, scholars, mystics, and philosophers down through the ages. Many answers to man's most acute problems have been given in dreams. Since biblical days, various interpreters and expositors in every country have been engaged in the analyses and interpretation of dreams. Freud, Jung, Adler, and many other distinguished psychologists and psychiatrists have studied the symbols portrayed in dreams. And by interpreting the meaning to the conscious mind of the patient, they have released hidden phobias, fixations, and other mental complexes. Your dreams, of course, are projections of the contents of your subconscious mind. Many instances they answer your problems and warn you regarding investments, journeys, and marriage, as well as pitfalls of daily living. Your dream is a dramatization of your subconscious mind. It's not fatalistic. You mold, fashion, and shape your own destiny by your thought and feeling. Anything in your subconscious mind is subject to change. And when you know the laws of mind, you predict your own future. You can fill your subconscious mind with the truths of God, and you will crowd out of your mind everything unlike God. For the lower is subject to the higher. Your subconscious is subject to the conscious mind. That's the husband, you see, has charge over the wife in biblical language. But theologians have taken that literally for thousands of years and have held women in bondage and thralled them and in subjection due to a misinterpretation of the Scripture. Once I had a telephone call from a woman in New York City stating that her husband had told her prior to his transition that he planned to take a large sum of money from his private safe and invest it in a foreign country for greater returns. A few days later he passed on, and when the safe deposit in the bank was opened, there was no cash. But there was a record at the bank that 2 days previously he had visited the vault. There was no trace or record of any investment, and a minute inspection of his desk revealed no clues. I suggested to her that she turn her request over to her subconscious mind, which knew the answer, for it knows only the answer, and that it would reveal the answer to her in its own way. She prayed as follows: my subconscious mind knows where my husband secreted that money, and I accept the answer and believe implicitly the solution will come clearly into my conscious mind. She quietly dwelled on the meaning of these words, knowing they would be impressed in her subconscious mind, thereby activating its response. She had a very vivid dream in which she saw a small black box hidden behind a picture of Lincoln on the wall in her husband's work den. She was shown in the dream how to press a secret button which could not be seen with the naked eye. When she awakened, she rushed to the den, took down the picture of Lincoln. When she pressed the button, revealed in the dream, an opening appeared containing the black box, which in turn contained $50,000 in currency. She discovered the treasures of her subconscious. She discovered there was a friend within her, which knows all, sees all, has the know-how of accomplishment, because it is all-wise. You too can take a similar step in putting the wisdom of your subconscious to pass, to answer your prayer. A young woman in San Francisco experienced a recurrent dream for 4 consecutive nights. In her dream, her fiancé, who was living in Los Angeles, appeared to her, and quite suddenly, a very high mountain, which seemed impossible to scale, came between them. In the dream, she was deeply surprised, frustrated, and bewildered. She awoke, wrestling with the problem and sensing something very wrong and shady. I asked her what the mountain signified to her, as every dream, when interpreted properly, must coincide with the inner awareness and feeling of the dreamer. Moreover, a recurrent dream is very important, as it is the intuitive voice of your subconscious saying to you, stop, look, and listen. The word mountain to her meant an insuperable obstacle. I suggested to her that she speak to her fiancé about the dream and gain the assurance that there was nothing hidden that was not revealed, and nothing covered up that was not made known to her. Accordingly, she flew down to Los Angeles to see her fiancé, who met her at the airport. After a heart-to-heart talk, he finally told her, I am homosexual. I wanted to marry you so that my customers, who are very religious, would not suspect anything. Her dream prevented her from experiencing what eventually would have been a great traumatic shock. You too can exercise the same or greater foresight through analyzing the recurrent happenings in your dream. Of course, there are variegated dreams, we know that. Some due to sexual frustration or oppression, others are due to mental and emotional turmoil, bodily malfunctioning, fears and religious taboos, reproduction and a recast of past events or of the activities of the day. However, there are many dreams of a recurrent nature, as well as of a precognitive significance, wherein you see events before they happen. Many times you're given detailed instructions in the dream as to what action to take. There is a wonderful power within you, a subconscious intelligence and wisdom, that man can use. He may be religious, he may be agnostic, he may be an atheist, and yet he can experience this infinite intelligence and wisdom functioning for him, because you need no creed. If you will call upon it, it will answer you, just as well as the atheist or the agnostic gets an answer. It's impersonal, no respecter of persons. You can call it a superhuman intelligence if you want to, or as I said, a subliminal mind or a subjective mind, or the I am, they call it Om in India. But the point is, the presence of the infinite is within you. It's in your own subliminal depths. It's also a law. It is there and we should use it. It works as you sleep. The German proverb is, night brings counsel. Your body doesn't rest. Your heart and all the vital organs are working while you're sound asleep. Your conscious mind is in abeyance. You turn away from the vexations and the strife and the contentions of the day. But 2/3 of your life is controlled by the 1/3 in sleep. What do you go to sleep with every night? Go to sleep in the feeling that you're a tremendous success, that you're absolutely outstanding. If you have a problem, contemplate the solution. Say, infinite intelligence gives me the solution. I accept the answer. It comes to me in divine order. So that subjective self of you corrects the errors of the day and anchors your thought to the supreme intelligence within you. In other words, the ancient Hebrews said you participate in the wisdom and the foreknowledge of the gods when you're sound asleep, because healing currents are released when you're asleep. The Bible says, He giveth His beloved in sleep. I lay me down in peace to sleep, for Thou, Lord, maketh me dwell in safety. Arthur Rohr, a great industrialist, a business tycoon, when he has a conference, and there's a very important decision to be made, he closes his eyes, relaxes, let's go, and his associates do the same thing. They get quiet and still. What do you suppose they think about? That there's an infinite intelligence within them that knows the answer, knows what's best for the organization, knows the right decision, for there's nothing it doesn't know, and therefore they contemplate that right decision, the harmonious solution, the creative idea, in the quietness of their own mind. In that quietude and that relaxed state, the wisdom of the subconscious rises to the conscious mind, when the conscious mind is in abeyance, and he gets marvelous results. Then when they open their eyes, they know the decision to make. And it's always right, because when your motivation is right, your decision will be right. If your motivation is wrong, no matter what you do will be wrong. And therefore, when you're asked to make a decision, well, ask yourself, what is my motivation? Looks good to me, and that proposition he made looks sound. I prayed about it. Infinite intelligence guides me, directs me what to do, and reveals to me the answer. Then it looks good to you, and your motivation is right, and whatever you do will be right, because it will be right action for you.